Hi, folks. Hope you're doing well. It's, well, you can see the time there. Yeah, it's just gone 10 p.m. So there you go. On Christmas Eve, apparently. Yes. Sure. Indeed. Well, at this time, I think it's appropriate because I've said this many times before, probably every time this year. So I'll say it again. Christmas means Christ Mass. Mass means celebration. So Christ celebration. So, okay. Christ celebration tomorrow. Okie dokie. Yes, indeed. So that's what it's supposed to be, but that's the name of it. So you would assume that's what people will be doing? No, of course not. Not even most Christians will be doing that at all. Celebration Christ tomorrow. No. No. Feeding themselves, drinking, opening presents, that sort of thing. Yeah, that's what it's about, really. Anyway, indeed, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yes, Christmas Day tomorrow. Indeed. Anyway, once again, they've redone the drama series. It's only 2 parts before, but it's not about 4 parts. The Stand. Now, the reason why I bring up The Stand is because The Stand was what was an incredibly important part in me giving my life to God in 1994. That was when the original TV show The Stand first came out. Now, before that, would have been quite a few years actually before that, I was in, don't know what you would call it actually. I have no idea what you would call it. I come out of care at 18, and around about 18, just after that, I guess, I was in a hostel in Gillingham in Kent. And one of the people there was a Christian. So I went with him to a church. Now, let me think. Was that the same church? Actually, yeah. I've actually mentioned this church before, but for different reasons. This was a church I mentioned before where I think it was every Wednesday lunchtime they had a celebration in... No! One second, that was Chatham, that wasn't Gillingham. Yeah, I still think it's the same church. Yes, because we walked from Gillingham to Chatham to the church. Yes. So that's the church you took me to. Now, that was around probably about 20 odd. So, of course, when I gave my life to God, I was 25, I think. 25, I think. 1994, so born in 69, so yeah, 25. I was 25. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, it was actually in 94 that I gave my life to God. Cool, yeah. Yeah. So, of course, there'd have been this thing happening. This would have been probably about 90, I guess. Don't know. It's all sort of, yeah, because how old would have been 90? 21. Yeah, about 90. 89, 90 it would have been. And that he took me to this church. Now, in this church, they were a bit happy-clappy, sort of standing up. Yeah, clapping. And I was sort of sitting down thinking, what the heck are these people doing? This is weird. I don't like it here at all. That was my impression of it at the time. To be honest, that's still my impression when I go into a church like that. I still think, what are these people doing? Cool. If they're doing it because of the fact that they are in the spirit and they're up and they're, worshipping truly, great. I don't know. I really don't know whether they're worshipping truly or they're doing it just because they think it looks good. Just because they're trying to impress others. I don't know. Maybe that's the reality. I have no idea. There you can see my baby boy on the screen. My little choo-choo. My handsome boy. Look at him. Looking at his daddy taking a photo of him. Oh, yeah. See his little fluffy legs. Oh, what a handsome boy he is. So, anyway, yeah. I was in that situation then. And then, yeah. So it was around about the time that James was born. James was born early, January 94. And I'd moved into a place in Rochester. And unbeknownst to me, I've moved next to a Christian couple. Well, I'd seen the mini-series The Stand. And fantastic cast. Rob Lowe, Mollie Ringwald, and a number of others. Great cast. Something that quite shook me actually at the time when I saw it. It's like they're talking about a virus that wipes out most of the population of the earth. About 7 million people just wiped out in the space of a week. Man-made, something that gets out through a lack of security. And so, yeah, watch that. Watch first episode. Watch second episode. By the end of the second episode, I'm like, oh, right. There's no doubt as to which side I would want to be on. Not just because of that side. One, even as you're watching it, you're going, yeah, I'll be them, because that group was psychotic. The group that went with the devil, but they're just psychotic people. I wouldn't want to be with them. I wouldn't get on with them at all. They would just pee me off. So that was really what started me thinking about, I want to be with God, not with the devil. Of course, living next to a Christian couple, I think it happened where they were having a barbecue. They invited me round to join in with the barbecue, and I think they'd had a few barbecues. I said no a few times. I eventually said yes. They said they went to a church. It was a church and a school. Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay. So had the barbecue. I think I spoke to him a few more times. I even asked him, can I come to the church? I'd like to see what sort of church you do. So went. Then they had a few meetings at their house. I went to one of the meetings. They did the usual, the lie. Naughty lie, where they basically said, everyone with your eyes closed, if you feel you want to give your life to God, then just raise your hands. Nobody's looking, don't worry. Of course, somebody was looking. The person who was saying, raise your hands. So, of course, my hand went up. Don't know why necessarily, but it did. So it's like, okay. But it was very much the Stand that caused that. Now, if you can, watch it. Watch the original Stand 1994 version. I watched a few episodes of the 2020 version. Not as good. Not as good. Partly because the 1994 was 2 episodes. This seems to be, it's going to be at least 4, if not 6, which is stretching it out a bit too much. 2 episodes was really good because, they got a lot in. And it was good. It was, certainly for the day, it was very good. It was scary. Of course, the virus issue, that was always going to be a potential thing that was a threat, because we learned in schools about death and things like that, and how incredibly bad those sort of things were, the plague. And so we knew even then that scientists had all of these things, and they were mucking around with them because they were. So, what brought you to a relationship with God? What's the thing that caused you to consider that you needed God in your life? That you want to be on His side? That's one point that I got today when I saw the new episode of The Stand. The second thing I got was interesting, because while thinking about it, I was thinking, I know some people that would clearly be on the devil's side from their personalities. But then you realise something, and it was God was speaking to me about it earlier, just saying, look, you can't look at someone and say this person is going to heaven or this person is going to hell, because you just don't know. I mean, certainly it's a case that over the last few decades, with the way the church has been, it would be quite easy for someone to go from, God's kingdom to the world's kingdom, especially with so many people having one foot in one kingdom, one foot in the other. So you could see someone going to church and think, well, that person obviously would go to heaven. No, they're not going to heaven, they're going to hell. And you can see some people who live their life where it seems obvious, but they must be going to hell. No, they repented. There's been a lot of people, especially in America, who've been executed for committing horrendous offences, who have repented before they died. When they were executed, they were at peace with it, because they knew where they were going. Of course, incredibly sorry at the fact that their life was ending in the way it was, because, if you're in your 30s or even 40s and you're getting executed for doing a horrendous thing, then your life will be remembered for that. You go to heaven, yes, because you've repented, but you've not exactly been able to glorify God in your life. And that's a real shame. If you're in that situation, that's a real shame. Because really what should be a push for most people should be, are they going to glorify God in their life? If the answer is no, well then, Lord, take me now. If I'm not going to glorify you in my life in a huge way, then take me now, because, if my life is going to be detrimental, then, what's the point in that, really? If it's not going to glorify you, well then what's the point of it? And the whole point of life is it's supposed to glorify you. As soon as we give our lives to you, our lives should belong to you. We should be walking according to your kingdom, not this one. We should be used as vessels by you to bring glory to you, to bring others to you. That's the reality. Another thing that spoke to me, or a big question that came actually, when watching this new version of The Stand, was would it be good if something like that, if a virus like that did actually happen to the Earth? So take the one we've got right now, times that by, you've got to times it by about 100,000. To kill 7 billion people. I don't know what the population of the world is right now. Quite a lot, I would guess. Yeah, 1 second. I'm going to type in to see if I can find world population. World population 2020. There you go. 7.8 billion people. Jesus. So put it this way. If 7 billion people were killed, then we'd have less than 1 billion people left on the planet. But that's still a lot of people, really. That really is still a lot of people. But that question, that was it's like, well, certainly you think about it, it would be probably brilliant for the Earth if that happened. It would also mean there'd be plenty of homes available, there'd be plenty of food available. Resources would be plenty for the people left. You wouldn't need to worry about, how you're going to provide this and that and the other to people. There'd be enough left over. But of course, that's looking at it from the good side. The bad side is you'd have 7 billion bodies to dispose of. 7 billion bodies to dispose of. So to think for a second, that'd be good for the planet if 7 billion people died. How are you going to dispose of 7 billion bodies? You're going to have to burn them. That's not good for the planet, is it? Really? Not in any way, shape, or form. And it's going to stink incredibly badly. Every city is going to stench. You'd have to move out and the cities will be empty completely. No one could live there. That's an interesting point. It says, what was the world population 100 years ago? Don't know. 200 years ago, the world population was just over 1 billion. Jeez! Well, and the reason is war. 200 years ago, the world population was just over 1 billion. We're now 7 to 8, nearly 8 times now what it was 200 years ago. And that's because 200 years ago, there was regularly wars. Wars happened. Disease happened. Famine happened. People didn't live in warm homes. There wasn't glass in most of the windows. People weren't fed very well. They didn't eat healthy. They didn't keep healthy. Childbirth was dodgy, to say the least. Any sort of illness was, likely to result in death. Not anymore. So people are being kept alive longer. Children born are more likely to survive now than ever before. So I think all in all, no. Disease like that to wipe out 7 billion people, no, that would be a terrible thing. Awful thing. Even if you were one of those that survived, you'd probably lose all your friends or your family. You'd be completely alone in a massive world where it'd just be dead bodies all around you. That would not be good. That would not be something that any person should desire. Yeah. I mean, in the end, the planet has a way of balancing eventually. I mean, I'm not sure what the deaths from COVID have been so far. Not fantastically wonderful. I mean, they're going to be terrible, I would guess. That's a certainty. It's going to be pretty blinking bad, but in the end, nowhere near as bad as 7 billion people. So the overall number worldwide is, I don't know, 7 here. Worldwide, it says 79 million cases, I think, with 79.663.161. I think that means 79 million. 1.7 million deaths. 56 million people recovered. So, yeah. 1.7 million deaths seems still quite high there, doesn't it, really? It does indeed, yeah. I haven't looked at the COVID count for quite a long time, actually. In the UK, it says 574 died. New deaths yesterday. Whether that's true, I don't know. But again, or whether they were all COVID, I'm not totally sure. But at this time of the year, we do traditionally have lots of respiratory deaths and respiratory cases every single year. Hospitals are usually pretty full as a result of it. So we're really no different now to what we normally are. And I think that's going to be the case for most countries, actually. Because normally it's flu that's affecting the elderly population at this time of the year. Now it's COVID. But it's probably going to be pretty much the same. Total deaths in the UK is 69,000. I'm not sure if that is how that would be with regards to. I mean, we also know part of the problem with the numbers is anyone who's been in hospital and where there's been a trace of COVID in their system is can be counted as a COVID death, even though it wasn't necessarily a COVID death. Whether other countries have done the same, I don't know. In America, so far, 336,000 have died. An extra 2,386 people died yesterday in America. Numbers quite high in a lot of countries at the moment. Quite high. Russia, 635. Brazil, 718. Germany, 554. 200 less in the UK, but yeah. Mexico, 816. Poland, nearly 500. Italy, 505. What about Spain? Only 126. France, 290. So it's not too bad for them. Not too bad at all. India, 350 new deaths. Aye. Not good, is it, really? Nope. Not good at all. Not good at all. But that's the thing, we are in the colder time of the year and the time when people would normally get these sort of chesty coffee sort of situations. So, yeah. It ain't good. But let's be thankful, though. Be thankful that we don't have something like the virus in the stand that wipes out, could wipe out 7 billion people. Because, what we've got at the moment with, 1.7 million deaths, that's a lot. It does seem a lot, but when you've got nearly 8 billion people on the planet, that's not that much, really. I'm not sure what the percentage is. 3%. 3%. Now, 3% is low. That's so incredibly low. Of closed cases, the deaths, 3%. 3% of those who get COVID die. 3%. That is incredibly low. That is something that we should still be incredibly encouraged by. And that's why all these countries locking down all the time. Jesus Christ, folks, stop doing it. There is no need at all. Absolutely no need whatsoever to do that. Deaths, 3% of those who get COVID, 3% die. God, normally flu, I think the percentage of people who die of flu is higher than 3% at this time of the year. Exactly what percentage, I don't know, but flu is normally just as dangerous to the old and vulnerable people, but it's actually a damn sight more dangerous to children than COVID is. So, we've got to not worry too much about it. I mean, I was speaking to a Christian friend earlier, and I just said to him, look, if God has plans for you, you won't get COVID and you won't die, so you certainly won't die from it. Because God has plans for your life. So you'll be fine. Yeah, if God doesn't have plans for your life and you're going to die soon, well then it may be through COVID. But if you're going to die soon, you're going to die soon anyway, aren't you? Really? Now, if you're incredibly vulnerable, then chances are that your days are numbered. But if you're not incredibly vulnerable, then don't worry about it. Not too much. Certainly to the point where you are willingly saying to the governments of the world, keep on smacking us. Look, we'll keep bending over for you to smack us or kick us up the arse with these lockdowns. What are you doing, folks? Stop it. Look at the evidence yourselves. Even active cases, right? Serious or critical, 0.15%. It's not even 1% of the active cases are serious or critical. Not even 1%. That's not something we need to panic about. It's ridiculous, all this panicking. People are just too lazy to actually look for the evidence themselves. They just believe it. The politicians say, oh, it's really bad. Hospitals are full. And we've got this new strain of the virus that's 70% more likely that you can catch it. But it doesn't make the virus more likely to harm you, does it? It doesn't make the virus more dangerous. I mean, it's been suggested that this new strain could be actually less dangerous. Yeah, you're more likely to catch it, but it's less likely to actually harm you. Of course, the politicians aren't going to tell you that, are they? They're just going to tell you the bits that are going to make you scared. Well, that's not good. But getting back to the original point, yeah, please Leave comments. What made you give your life to God? What was the thing that spoke to you? What was the thing that was knocking on your door? Where the Lord was knocking on your door? So with regards to the virus, if you're a Christian, be led by God. If you're led by God, you don't need to be concerned about this virus. Not in any way, shape or form. You just don't need to be concerned about it. Don't stress about it, certainly. In this photo here, we see Amber on the right. She had some form of conjunctivitis. That's gone now. All dealt with. All sorted. Eyes cleaned up now. Yes, indeed. All sorted. Yes. As I'm saying that, Border Collie is right in front of me with a tail wagging. So I better let her out. You take care. God bless. And I will speak to you soon. I will probably do a video later. Not sure what the subject will be. Time will tell. You take care. God bless. I will speak to you soon. Bye-bye.